Bonjour! Bienvenue! I think that this is it. This is the day. A bit like this. We're going to be fine. Thank you. Thank you very much. First, a big thank you to our clients for your presence and your support during this year. It has meant a lot to us, and we are so pleased to have you here. Thanks to the press, and thanks to our people. So, thanks to those who are in Paris for 3 days to be doing a seminar. There is worse than doing this. But maybe more importantly, thank you for those who are looking at us from all around the world, live. And of course, as everyone here, expecting a lot from what is a very, very important day for us. You know, a year ago, we set an ambition. Some will say that it was a crazy idea. We decided that we will create a platform that will connect our 80,000 employees to work differently, to reinvent the way we work. Reaction has been interesting. It went from good to bad, sometimes very ugly. And by the way, there are some journalists that will recognize their quote here. But we took it for what it was, a challenge. But this was a year ago. We were in this beautiful Cannes that we love so much. We were singing, dancing, having fun. And then a few small things just happened. First is our industry has been put under a massive pressure. And by the way, is put under pressure every day a bit more. Second, and this is incredibly important, the marketing landscape has been a bit more disrupted, creating a huge issue when it comes to trust and transparency. Our clients, they are increasingly challenged. Who do not need to change his business model? Who is not looking for more growth? And by the way, to cut more costs. So if you add to that the fact that our competition has been broader and fiercer than ever, there is no doubt our industry has been losing value. And you just have to look at the market cap of the top 4 holding company to see that we have an issue. So what do we do about that? This is the question of today. What do we do with what has happened this year? Well, at Publicis, we have a very simple belief, and we had it for a long time, and we're actually accelerating on it. It's time to face the fact we can't afford to play the blame game. We need to make sure that we recognize that the holding company model, which we are part of, by the way, is actually frozen for at least 2 decades. Everything has changed around us. Consumer behavior, media landscape, our competition, our clients have been changing. The question is, can we afford to have an incremental change, or should we go further if we want to save us? We have a very simple belief here. We believe that it's time to break the industry. We believe that actually it's time to break the industry, to reinvent it. And we want to reinvent it with our client, and thanks again for being here, and with our people. And by the way, we want to do that for our people, because 100% of our value lies in our talent. When we talk about reinventing the industry, it's pretty simple. We have 3 things to do. The first is we need to make sure that we break the barrier between data, creativity, and technology. I want to be very clear on something. Creativity is and will always be our raison d'être. But if we don't understand that we need to fuel it with data and add technology to make it possible, we are losing a massive opportunity to reinvent ourselves and to make our client grow. Second thing we need to do is to break the holding company model. And if you look at what Maurice has been done with the power of one, that we're accelerating now, we have a massive opportunity to shift from an holding company to a platform, and we're actually on our way to do so. And last but not least, and this is of course the purpose of today. The purpose of today is how can we break the walls between talent and opportunity. This is the mission we're having for Marcel. This is our ambition. This is our idea. This is our belief. We believe that if at Publicis we break the wall between talent and opportunities, we're going to reinvent this industry and we're going to make our people grow. So, it's obviously incredibly important because when you look at the transformation we're in and the pace we're giving to all the changes we're doing, we need to make sure that we put our people first into it. This is what Marcel will do. We need to make sure that we can give them the freedom to work as they live. This is a beautiful insight. We have changed totally the way we live thanks to digital. We should apply the same the way we work. And it's pretty simple. We're going to do that by connecting our 80,000 creative minds. This is our mission. I want to be clear on something. It's going to be a very difficult journey. By the way, it has been an incredible difficult journey so far, and there is no reason why it won't continue. But we are committed to do it. And we are actually committed to do three things. One, make sure that our people learn more, share more, and create more at Publicis. I want to say that to everyone that is not in the room. At Publicis, you will learn more, share more, and create more than anywhere else, thanks to Marcel. The second thing is to our clients. You know, in this difficult time, the loyalty and the partnership we're having with our client is so important. But we need to evolve also with them. We need to make sure that we can leverage the incredible diversity we're having around our group and make sure that this will bring exponential creativity. And we want to commit to our industry. We want to make sure that we are a positive source of change for our industry. Most of the people that are in the room have done great things thanks to this industry. I think that it's time to take back. I think that it's time for us to be a positive force in something that is absolutely wonderful, because at the end of the day, ideas always win. This is what we bring, and this is why our industry is so important. So, no news, no doubt. It's a tough journey, but we have a good news. I guess it was in November, so we were like 6 months after Cannes and 6 months before being here, and we were with Sapient working like crazy, building the architecture, putting the consumer experience. It was extremely tough. And I was just landing, and I received a mail from Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft. So I said, first I should be jet lagged. Why is Satya sending me a mail? I open it, and I say, hi Arthur, it's Satya Nadella. I looked at what you're doing with Marcel, and I found it was quite interesting. I think we should meet. So when Satya Nadella sends you this kind of mail, you know what you do? You take your phone, you call Air France. If they are not on strike, you ask them tickets for Seattle, and you run to Seattle. So I went like this, I arrived in Seattle, I was Peggy Johnson, Satya, we sat down for breakfast, and, you know, Satya just told me this incredible story of transformation he has brought to Microsoft. And I saw immediately all the lessons we could take for Marcel and our ambition. He talked to me about AI, the power of AI, how it can make our people better. And so I left the breakfast, you know, I remember perfectly, I was sitting there, and I said, okay, change of plan. I'm going to be the mother of Marcel, and Satya is going to be the father. And here is Satya with us now, hopefully. Satya, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thanks again for being there. Thanks so much for what your team and what has been doing with us. It's a great partnership. I would like to come back first on the breakfast we had. You told me so great things about the Microsoft transformation, what you have brought to life, the lesson we should actually take out for Marcel. It would be great to hear you a bit about this.
No, absolutely. First of all, thank you so much, Arthur. I was not expecting that introduction, but it's fantastic to be here. You know, one of the things I was listening to you backstage and reflecting in some sense on the journey that we have ourselves as a company been through. And I think one of the things that we talked even at that breakfast is, you know, if you look at how companies become successful, we obviously all start with some great idea that comes from the people who started the company, who worked at the company in the very beginning, and it became a hit. That idea helps us build amazing, amazing capability, and the culture is implicit. But whatever that idea that first came, ultimately will run out of gas. There is no such thing as a perpetual motion machine, right? I mean, there is no such thing as the hit will last forever. If that was, all our music would be terrible. And that's the reason why I think culture, in some sense, matters more than anything else. At least that's the lesson we learned, I learned. I mean, I grew up at Microsoft. I've been there for 27 years. So I'm a consummate insider. But the thing I realized was, even though we've had great success, I needed to make culture the most important thing, which means you've got to translate that by betting on our own people and their ability to do big things, great things, on behalf of our customers. But then you need to invest in the technology, like the way you are describing, and that's where I got excited about Marcel even. Because to me, the reason why I love companies that start by thinking about their people. And technology is just a tool. I mean, technology doesn't do anything except it can help people do big things. And any company that thinks about it in those ways is very attractive to us. Those are the people I want to partner with.
You know, when we started the journey, there have been a lot of fears about AI and technology. What can you tell us, and especially in the case of Marcel, how can it bring actually a soul to the company and help our people grow? Because at the end of the day, this is the ultimate goal.
Yeah, I mean, see, the other thing that I love about the way you're framing it is, I sometimes sort of say this, right, which is you can never be cool by association. In other words, you have to do something that is cool internally. And so you're building AI for yourself. I mean, yes, we are partnered, we'll give you all of the AI technology, but that's sort of immaterial. I feel what is more important is you're trying to say, look, we at Publicis, through this project called Marcel, are going to connect our creative with the technology and data, and that means then you can go and transform your clients' own experiences around how they think about marketing. But it all starts, though, by you believing that you can build this technology. And so, therefore, I don't think this is about fear. It's more about being confident in your own ability to connect what you already have, which is all the data, all the creativity, and then creating a virtuous loop. And I think you described it as you want to learn better, you want to share better, and then you want to be able to create more. On behalf of your clients. And that's what this AI system does. I'm a firm believer that AI can augment human capability and human creativity. You have tons of all of that human capability and creativity, and Marcel should be that accelerator of that, if anything.
Look, one last question before you go and see President Macron. We have our team, you have your team, they are working together. We are at the beginning of a impressive journey. What would be the last advice you will give us before we continue to run?
I know you have a lot of clients and you have a lot of press, which is usually not the way I do my leadership team meetings. I only have my leaders.
We just, as our competitor will say, we just care about communication.
You know, it's not the best line of poetry that I ever sort of wrote or said. But I told my leaders, the top 150 Microsoft corporate vice presidents ones, that look, our job is only one thing, which is to find rose petals in a field of shit. And
I'm going to quote you. I'm going to use...
because, and the reason I said that is if you're a leader, your job is in an over-constrained world to find a way to make things happen. That's what this is all about, right? If you really want to move the company forward, transform the company, it comes down to leadership. And it's the people in the room, the choices you make, the behaviors you have, the attitude with which you come to work each day is going to make the difference. Technology and all the other things you can take for granted, but the one thing you can't take for granted is what you as leaders can accomplish when you set your mind to it. So my piece of advice would be, is starting with you and me, living that. It's just not about preaching it. The more each of us can push ourselves, and that's why we've tried to evolve our culture from being these know-it-alls to learn-it-alls. Every day, confronting our fixed mindset is how we at least like to describe the culture we want to live. And that will be the only advice I can ever give myself, so that's what I'll share with you.
Look, thanks a lot. I will use the quote with my board. Maybe it will help me a bit. You know, Marcel has been named for our founder, Marcel Blanchet. He said something that we loved, which is another way of saying exactly what you said, but with these words. He said, when you are being challenged, it's time to be bold. And this is exactly what we are trying to do with Marcel. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you, Marcel.
Say hello to the brand called Marcel. 80,000 creative minds connected. I know you guys want to see the product, but I want you to bear with us for 5 minutes, because even though we're going to unbox Marcel today, that journey is going to be long, right? It's going to be iterative. It's going to have its highs and its lows. We're going to have some victories, some epic fails, some pivots, some surprising discoveries. And through that journey of experimentation, we need a few things that we know can anchor us, and those are our brand values. So very simply, 3 brand values for Marcel: awake, fluid, diverse. A year ago, we set out our intentions to launch Marcel through what I lovingly refer to as the Marcel hostage video. And that's to some degree why we're here today, right? The industry woke up, and we're going to continue to have Marcel wake the industry up, because the industry is going to continually be disrupted and be challenged. And Marcel needs to stay awake in the industry changes. Awake to what's now, right? What's here. In order for people to use and engage and participate with Marcel, It needs to be awake to our behaviors, to our interests, to our needs, to our intentions, to our connections. Marcel has to be awake to what's next, and that's really where AI kicks in, right? Because Marcel can then start to anticipate and predict what you might be interested in, what you should read, who you should connect to. So awakeness or awakeness or wokeness or whatever is one of our key brand values. The second one is fluid. There is no digital experience of connectivity that isn't fluid, seamless, intuitive, beautiful, and elegant. And we know that if we deliver an experience that is hard, difficult, disjointed, you guys will reject it. So absolutely, fluidity is mandatory. Last but not least, if we talk about 80,000 people, clearly we need to be diverse, and clearly we're going to celebrate the individuals, the brand identities, the immense spectrum of work. But what Marcel can also do is it can activate diversity and inclusion in unprecedented ways. As a technology platform, it can provide us unbiasedness, right, that doesn't exist with human beings, an unbiased, conscious culture. It can also activate diversity and assemble teams, the diversified teams, for increased innovation. And my God, that's what our clients desire, and that's what this industry needs. So if there's one thing you have to remember about Marcel, 80,000 people, creative minds connected, awake, fluid, diverse.
Thank you. I feel like I've just been briefed.
Okay, that's good.
Planner.
Now you have to create.
All right, so this is the identity. It's a beautiful, simple, elegant identity designed by one of the world's great creative agencies, BBH in Singapore. And as you can see, it has this very distinctive eyes hovering above it. Those eyes represent a few things. First of all, it represents the humanity and the intelligence, the sentience of Marcel, the platform. But secondly, it represents 2 points, 2 people, 2 ideas that come together to create something. And of course, it represents the awakeness that you're talking about. But you know, Marcel, the brand, is a service brand, and you'll see when you see the demonstration, when you actually see the product, that those eyes have an important role in the interface. Like all good and modern brands, the brand is the interface, and the interface is a brand. And its role, obviously, the identity's role, is to connect a whole bunch of agencies. And those agencies are diverse and interesting and have their own rich cultures. It's a sort of trite truth that we hear over and over again, but a truth nevertheless, that creativity and innovation is a result of 2 very different ways of thinking coming together to create a third way of thinking. So that's why it's very important for all of our brands and our agencies to continue to be distinct, have their own rich personalities and cultures, so that when they connect, we get amazing work. So you're probably sick of hearing us talking all around the brand and the values and everything. So I'm going to invite Emmanuel, Souf, and Dawn up on stage to show you the bloody thing. All right, here we go.
Thank you. This is not intimidating. Never saw my name so big. Welcome, good morning. This is it. We've heard about the context of Marcel and the reasons why we're doing Marcel. We've just displayed the brand, the new brand done by BBH. I hope you love it as much as we do. But now it's time to meet Marcel. And there's no better way to meet Marcel than to see Marcel at work. So we're going to do demos. But at the very start of this whole process, we based all our demos on all our research on real people and real problems. So the way we want to do these demos is to tell you stories of people solving their problems with Marcel. First up, Suwan. I saw Suwan, by the way. I think she's in the room somewhere. Oh, there you go. Suwan, correct me if I'm wrong. I hope. Well, actually, no. Don't correct me if I'm wrong. It's too late anyway. Suwan works in new business and innovation at Starcom in Singapore. And Suwan exemplifies one of the common issues that we saw while researching people is connecting with expertise. We know the expertise is all around the network, throughout our brands and throughout our geographies, but making your way to the precise expert that you need to meet today to help you solve your issue is something that is easier said than done. This is where technology can help us, and this is where Marcel can help us. Souf, show us how.
All right, let's get started. On behalf of everybody who's made it possible for us to be here today, I do want to first thank them, but more importantly, it is an incredible opportunity and an absolute privilege to stand in front of you here today to introduce you to Marcel. It's also exciting, and I'm super pumped to give you a glimpse into the future of our company. I'm sure you've all seen the announcement and wondered, what is Marcel? I don't blame you guys. We were all pretty much in that state when we first saw the video. But over the course of the last couple of months, we've kind of cracked it. We've always said Marcel is an AI-enabled platform that connects 80,000 creative minds across the Publicis network. And we will always stay true to that vision. But Marcel, over the course of the next couple of months and over the course of the next couple of years, is going to have many different manifestations. The very first manifestation of Marcel is going to be in the form of an app. So let's go ahead and pull up Marcel. So this is my app. It's something that I use on a day-to-day basis, pretty much 24/7 around the clock. And everything that I'm going to do here today is something that we will pull up on the screen right there. And I'm sure for the folks on the live stream, you're going to see it on your computer screens as well. Now, the way that we're going to talk you through the product is, like Emmanuel said, is to real stories, to real people as to who we spoke to. Suwan, so let's go back to Suwan. And Suwan is looking for an expert in retail with experience in product launches. Now, in today's world, if I actually had to go out and find that expert, can somebody give me a guess in terms of hours, minutes, days, years? How long would it take? Anybody? What? A day? 2 months? 2 weeks. OK. So in a world with Marcel in your pocket and on your phone, all you have to do is pick up the phone and ask. The way to interact with Marcel is simply hit this button.
Hi, how can I help?
This little button that you're seeing in the bottom corner of the screen, and just pick up the phone and start speaking with it. I'm looking for an expert in retail with experience in product launches. Oh, right. I'm looking for an expert in retail with experience in product launches. Let's do that again. Marcel is a bit shy. I'm looking for an expert in retail with experience in product launches.
I found a few. How would you like to narrow it down?
Now, what we're seeing is Marcel's ability to understand the context, understand those keywords of expertise in retail, experience in product launches, and come back with a set of results. What Marcel is showing me right now is the topmost results in that context. But Marcel's intelligent, and Marcel wants to be a little more proactive in help me out here or help Suwan out here. So the way it's doing that is this thing called suggestion chips. So on the bottom of the screen, I'm seeing a few interface elements that says available now, Publicis.sapient, strategy, campaign. Simply Marcel's ability to sift through data, sift through the 359 experts, and understand my context and help guide the way as to how can I go back and narrow this down. But what if I had a very specific question? What if I had a different way of narrowing this down? At the time at which we were speaking to Suwan, she was actually working for Samsung. So let's go and see if we can actually narrow this down through that. Have any of them worked with Samsung before?
I'd recommend speaking to Ashton. She's worked on a few Samsung engagements and has previously worked with your current client, Michelle.
So this is interesting, because now Marcel has come back with a very specific response. It's come back with a response that's recognized Ashton as that perfect expert that Suwan needs to reach out to. But more interestingly, what Marcel has done is it's recognized a common client that we're working with. So it's looking through data, it's sifting through information, and identifying common connections and what might be the most relevant attribute in this context. We're also seeing some hot links, so words that are highlighted. This is simply Marcel's ability to tuck relevant information based on the context of the conversation. So let's tap on one of these and see what comes up. Let's go ahead and tap on Samsung. All right, and here what we're seeing is this overview page that Marcel is curating for us, or curating for Suwan, in context of the Samsung account. We're seeing that Samsung has a few regions in which it's engaging with Publicis Group around. We're seeing the senior leadership of Samsung. In this case, it's Matt Blackburn, who's a GCL, a little summary about his role. We're seeing some of the senior leadership. We're seeing some of their work. We're seeing some of the more public announcements from Samsung so I can get smart on what's happening. And then finally, what we're seeing is Marcel bridging the gap with the Cannes archive and bringing in work and information from there, which basically allows me to view all the awards that Samsung as an account has won at Cannes, or also work that was previously submitted. So let's go ahead and actually play one of those videos. Now, I can tap on any one of these white cards, go deep into the piece of work and understand the work, but also I can tap on the View Cannes Archive link at the bottom and go directly to the Cannes Archive. But let's not forget why we're here, so let's go ahead to the initial intent of our conversation with Marcel, which is finding Ashton. So let's go ahead and tap on Ashton and see what comes up. So here we're seeing Ashton's profile. And this is a profile that's going to be unique to everybody across Publicis, irrespective of what agency or brand that you're working with. It's something that every employee will be able to curate and control all by themselves. And think of this as the profile that Marcel uses to understand context around you and the information around you, so Marcel can understand you better in order to come up with relevant results. So we're seeing that Ashton is from Publicis.sapient. We're seeing a summary about her, a few ways to contact her. We're also seeing some of the breakthrough work that she is part of and something that she's celebrated for across the network. We're seeing some of her skills. We're seeing some of the accounts that she's worked for previously. We're seeing files that she's sharing across the network that may be relevant for everybody. Work that she's published or articles that she's published on public platforms like LinkedIn. We're seeing some of the brands that she loves and she's passionate about. We're seeing some of her interests outside of work, awards that she has won. And finally, at this point in time, if Suwan looks at Ashton's profile and feels like Ashton is the right person to reach out to, Marcel is giving her 4 different choices of times in which she can add a meeting calendar. So let's go ahead and actually set up a meeting between Suwan and Ashton.
What would you to meet with Ashton about?
So let's go ahead and send out a message. I wonder what Suwan would write. So I'm just going to say, hi. I'd like to get some time for a quick chat.
A slow typer.
Yeah, sorry. All right, let's go ahead and send out the invite.
Invite sent. I'll let you know as soon as Ashton responds. What else can I do for you today?
All right. So what you saw there is Suwan basically connecting with the expert. And just like that, in a couple of minutes, Suwan has gone from not knowing who to reach out to finding that perfect expert through Marcel, and then eventually having a meeting on her calendar with Ashton that could potentially lead to some incredible ideas.
Great. Okay, so that's our first story, first of 5. And you were able to see in that how we were actually able to connect our people, right? And this is a very specific connection that's happening outside of the walls of any single agency, and frankly, on the other side of the globe. So an amazing case study in that. I want you all to notice something. Suwan booked some time with Ashton, and you might be asking yourself, is Ashton okay with that? Does she have time to actually be responding to that? But what you should know is that Ashton already predetermined that in Marcel. She told Marcel how much time she wants to dedicate. It might be an hour a week, 2 hours a week, or no time at all if she's on a really busy project. So one of our design principles is that absolutely everything about Marcel is opt-in. It is not compulsory. It will not impose anything upon you. You will always control it. And that's how we think that Marcel needs to operate if it's going to be truly engaging to all 80,000 of our people. So let's move on to our second story. For our second story, we'd like you to meet Flavia. Flavia is an account director. She works in Sao Paulo, Brazil at Sapien AG2. And Flavia's got an interesting brief in front of her. She's got a brand new brief from a client. And this brief, unlike any brief she's had before, is incredibly rich with data. She is unclear really how to approach it, but she knows that within the network, there's great work and people who've worked on just that type of project before. Now, Flavia can search on the internet, and she probably will, but she's going to get a lot of responses, not all of them relevant to her, and certainly not all with the depth of knowledge that we have behind it and the ability to actually reach out to those creators and find out where an insight came from, how a work got created, how it got sold to a client, how it actually performed in the world. And that's the story that we're about to tell you now.
All right, let's go ahead and see what Marcel has for Flavia.
Hello, how can I help you today?
So again, to ask a question, I'm simply going to tap this button and go ahead and ask it. I'm looking for work that combines data and creativity.
Live demos.
I'm looking for work that combines data and creativity. All right, Marcel is shy, so why don't you guys give it some claps and encourage them. Well, it's probably because you're all tweeting on that hashtag #MeetMarcel, right? So why don't we just go ahead and use the keyboard this time? I will promise to improve on my typing skills.
Data and creativity are into work we do. I'd recommend looking at Real Views by Renault based on your current work.
Now, what Marcel is doing right now is its ability to go back and look at all the work in our catalog across all the agencies and recognize attributes like data and creativity. The first piece of work that's being recommended to Flavia is actually based on the account that she's working on. So Marcel's almost predicting Flavia's needs and predicting why she may be looking for inspiration and coming back with a relevant response. So if Flavia would like to just continue exploring this catalog, all she has to do is simply swipe up or tap on that next button below. Let's go ahead and tap next.
Work on Goulburn Valley should excite the foodie in you.
Now, this one's really interesting because what Marcel's doing right now is it's looking at Flavia's profile. It's looking at Flavia's profile and recognizing that Flavia has listed a foodie as one of the interests in her profile and bringing in a piece of work that may be relevant to that context. Let's go ahead and do one more and see what comes up.
Pigeon Patrol by Digitas is trending.
So what we're seeing here is simply Marcel using information and context around you from what it knows about you. And through the design principles of Marcel, it's also something that we want to keep focus on as to you directly know how some of this information of your profile is actually being used. So at this point in time, Flavia could just continue exploring the catalog of Publicis, and Marcel will try its best to come back and contextualize the work for you. I can tap on any of these pieces of work, go in and see in the work as well. But what if Flavia had a specific request right now? Let's say she's looking for some award-winning work. So let's go ahead and ask Marcel another specific question. Show me work that has won at Cannes.
Whirlpool and Digitas at Cannes last year.
So let's go ahead and see what comes up when I actually tap on this piece of work. Let's play that video.
I know that I have students that think, would I rather stay home today than to walk to a classroom and people are whispering about me?
Now, I can continue seeing that piece of work at great length. I'm also seeing that there's an award that this piece of work won at Cannes. I can see a little blurb about it. I can see the agencies and the account that was part of. I can see a little blurb about the piece of work, some of the assets that may be relevant or useful for Flavia to download right within there. I'm also seeing the people that worked on this piece of work, and that's incredible because how often do you actually get to see and meet the people that were part of the work? We're seeing some of the other awards of this piece of work across all the other categories. And at this point in time, this is a piece of work that had some incredible strategic insight. So if Flavia had that question as to how did the contributors of the team actually take that strategic insight and turn it into such a brilliant execution of an idea, all she has to do is hit that button that says request for more information.
Isabel is the point of contact for this piece of work. What would you like to say?
Now, again, Marcel has recognized the perfect point of contact for Flavia to just route her questions through. So I'm just going to go ahead and send a message on behalf of Flavia. Just going to say sup this time. And send an email.
Your email has been sent.
All right.
Would you exploring?
And just like that, Flavia has gone from seeking inspiration to finding that perfect piece of work, and even potentially just reaching out to the team with a bunch of few questions.
I think there are two important things here that happen. Number one, Marcel didn't really act like a search engine fed by a database. Marcel acted like a smart connector, bringing me to work and guiding me through it based on my needs, on my profile, and what I express, how I behave with Marcel. The second thing is that, as you just saw with Suv's immensely profound message to the person behind the work, SUP, that you're able to actually connect with the people who are in charge of the work and ask about the production company, where did the insight come from, what are the things that have been fueling or around the work that could be interesting to you. The more we're going to use Marcel, the more Marcel is going to get good at this and be relevant with our needs and guide us to the right place. Now, both Suwan and Flavia, our two first examples, see, of course, how Marcel can solve their problems. They also believe in Marcel, which isn't the case of everybody. Meet these two guys.
We're creatives at Leo Burnett. We were asked to inquire about Marcel, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know what to ask because in general it seems like kind of a waste of time and money. We pretty much wanted nothing to do with it. We didn't even want to be in this video, unless you pixelated our faces and work our voices. So that goes to show how we feel about this. But otherwise, I think it's a really strong idea.
Guys, even if you don't believe in Marcel, Marcel believes in you. But we won't always have a problem to solve when we go on Marcel. We might not know how to use Marcel when we begin on Marcel. Not every day do we have a query like, inspire me or connect me to an expert. This is a card. Am I pressing the right button? Now, a card is a proposition. Because we never thought of Marcel as an assistant, something that would just respond to you, we saw Marcel as an opportunity for each one of us to use the full potential of the organization. So a card is a proposition that is curated to your needs, to your profile, and to your behavior that has something to suggest you do with what's out there. So for instance, these guys could be a target for a proposition like this one. It's our own Nick Lowe, you just discovered on stage, who wrote something on why cynicism is killing creativity. That might be an interesting thing for these guys to look at. So as you click through, in this case, you have a piece of content that is curated to your needs. Every day, each one of us, when we go on Marcel, we get 6 cards. It's what we call a digest. A card can be a link to a piece of content, to a piece of white paper, to work, to a case study. It might also be an invitation to, for instance, join the unboxing live stream, which is happening now, or to meet Tim Chin, who apparently has something that could be of your interest given what you've been looking at this morning, recently, or it could be a request for you to act, like a survey, or here, somebody needs for a campaign pictures of dogs. This is your digest. Actually, it's my digest because the person sitting next to me will have another digest. Each one of the 6 cards you receive correspond precisely to your needs. So some of them will be common because they're universal messages. You can see that the unboxing of Marcel will arrive in everybody's inbox or Marcel inbox. But for the rest, because we're all different, because we express different needs, we're going to receive different cards. Now you see how the cards is going to actually form a currency, an exchange currency on Marcel and the way ideas are shared. Souf, show us how the anonymous team that we just met could find on their digest today.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead.
Hey there, what can I do for you?
Now, at this point in time, if I didn't have an explicit question for Marcel, Marcel recognizes that and shows me 6 pieces of cards. Now, this is the first one. This is Nick back again. The next one seems to be a piece of work that was done for Diesel for the New York Fashion Week. Let's go ahead and play that video.
These are real Diesel jeans. Only the logos are fake.
Hey, New York.
I'm bummed I didn't queue up on time on that one. The next one seems to be the new head of art at the office, where Marcel is recommending these 2 guys to actually grab coffee with her. The next one seems to be, and because this is something that is on Marcel, and I'm interested on Marcel, this article seems to be written by somebody called Marcel. Things are getting really meta right now. The next one seems to be somebody from Rocan reaching out for ideas for a global tea brand. And then last but not the least, our favorite feature, which is timesheets. We want to make it as simple and as easy and as... Well, I'm sure everybody on the live stream is also clapping for that one. All right, but the thing that really caught my eye was this one by Rocan. So let's go ahead and tap on one of these cards and see what that experience looks like. This one seems to be coming from G, who's at Rocan in New York, and she seems to be part of the team that's pitching a global tea brand looking for ideas. Think of this simply as a tweet you could send out to the entire organization. Now, based on the context of your question, and in this case, it's pitching out an ideas for a global tea brand, what Marcel is going to do is it's going to select or handpick people across the network to send this card out to. And, again, if Emmanuel is not a tea connoisseur, or if Don is not a tea lover, and if I am, only I will see that card. So let's actually go ahead and help G out here. Let's go ahead and answer that crowdsource. Now, I am going to need a volunteer. All right. Who? Nigel. Nigel's here. So I'm just going to take a picture of you. Take a picture. Nigel, I know you don't have a teacup, but can you hold up that bottle? There you go. All right. So I'm going to add that photo to my response. Surprise. And I'm going to say, we're at, oh, that's not where. We're at Viva Tech. Let's, oh, my typing skills are bad. Let's call this Viva Tea. And just like that, what I've done is if I had come up with an idea in under a few minutes, I can send G in New York my idea and something that she could potentially use. Now, let's see what's happening behind the scenes. Behind the scenes in New York, G's looking at all of these ideas just come in. So we're seeing some ideas from somebody at Digitas in Boston. We're seeing ideas come in from BBH in San Francisco, somebody at Zenith in Los Angeles, and so on and so forth. Now, this is something G could potentially use to help inspire and get over her little roadblock, and something that she could potentially take to a client and put in a pitch deck. And just like that, in under a few minutes, G's got a bunch of ideas from people who are familiar with tea and who love tea, and something that she's excited about.
Thank you.
And now she's got a picture of Nigel.
Okay, so we saw with the anonymous team example a great illustration of how Marcel could invite us to participate even in a simple or small activity beyond the walls of our agency and geography. This next story is a bit different. This next story, we're actually recreating a beta that we did last fall for Walmart. We have some folks from Walmart here, as well as one of the winners, Monica. And we're going to tell this story through Monica's eyes. So Monica is an art director. She works at WYSIWYG, which is a small, hot digital agency in Publicis Madrid. And Monica knows that to keep growing in her career, she needs opportunities for challenges, opportunities to improve her skills. She also knows that there's amazing projects going on around the world within Publicis Group, but she doesn't know how she can participate in them. So let's see how Marcel can help connect her with opportunities.
All right. Like Don said, we're going to see Marcel through Monica's eyes right now. So let's see what Marcel saw when she opened Marcel through the beta.
Hi there. What can I do to help?
Now we're seeing, again, when we don't ask it an explicit question, we're going to see a card pop up. And in this case, it's a message from Tony Rogers, who has a brief for Monica. So let's go ahead, and I see Tony sitting right here. So let's go ahead and tap on this card and see what comes up. Let's play that video.
You're about to get a brief from us and an opportunity for us to change the way that people think about Walmart. That's going to be your brief. And I'm so excited that you have this challenge.
So again, at this point in time, Monica's seeing this card only because Marcel has recognized that there aren't any conflicts for Monica to work on the Walmart brief. We can see that the Walmart team in New York, I believe, has put this page together where they've described the opportunity, they've given it a little information. There is a point of contact for this piece of work. There are some key dates for Monica to glance through and just make sure that she's available to work on the idea. And also some high-level background information about the opportunity. And in case, at this point in time, if Monica has a question, she can obviously just directly reach out to the Walmart team and clarify any of her questions. Now, let's go ahead and actually apply for Monica for this right now. Don, what do you think Monica would have said in her application?
Shopping is my superpower.
Okay. Shopping is my superpower. And then let's just send her the way. So what we've done is we've sent Monica's application on her behalf to the Walmart team. Now, let's see what's happening behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, what's happening is the Walmart team in New York is actually looking at all this information come in, all these applications come in, and Marcel is going to help that Walmart team in picking in the right candidates. So it's also going to cast people with each other. So once the team at Walmart is comfortable in identifying all the people that could potentially work on this opportunity, they're going to send out a card like this. So this one says, congratulations to Monica, who's been accepted into the Walmart opportunity. Let's tap on that card and see what comes up. So here we're seeing that Monica has actually been paired with somebody at Madrid. Now this is done in conjunction with the Walmart team and Marcel included, where they combine people into teams, and that could be a team of 2 or more. We're also seeing a Microsoft Teams channel that will allow Monica and Daniel to actually reach out to the Walmart team and collaborate with them directly. It's also something that they could use if they are remote participants into this opportunity. We're seeing some of the brief material, so we're seeing assets, we're seeing PDFs that may be part and relevant to the opportunity. We're also seeing a OneDrive link where all the other documents exist. We're seeing a response deadline, a deadline for which Monica and Daniel are expected to send in their ideas. And then finally, a point of contact. And this is where Monica and Daniel collaborate and build their story and build their narrative and work on the idea. And over the course of the next few weeks, up until October 4th, what happens is they work on the idea and then they send their idea away. So let's say they sent their idea away and they're waiting for the results. This is what happens. So it seems to be a video.
Bonjour Monica, bonjour Daniel. A short film only for you to tell you how happy I am that you found this great idea for Walmart and the Oscar. As Tony Rogers said...
Now, our tour is very camera shy, in case you guys didn't know that already. But in this case, this is an important video because it celebrates Monica and Daniel. And what you saw just now is Marcel's ability to bridge the gap for people to work on opportunities irrespective of where they are, what they're doing, and what they're interested in.
Thanks, Suv. One of the virtues of Marcel, obviously, is to take the complexity of our business and structures and make them simple. One key complexity is, of course, the management of conflicts. There's no way we can open briefs to 80,000 people, and Suf underlined it, but it's a key aspect, structural aspect of Marcel, obviously. But when you think about it, conflicts are nothing more than business rules, and machines are much better than we are at respecting business rules and applying them at the individual level. So when Monica is invited to participate on Walmart, not only is it because Monica has the right profile to be part of the assignment that we're asking for, but it's also because she's completely clear to work on this brief. Speaking of complexity, this is our last story. It's the story of Anna, and it's about global clients.
Hi, I'm Anna, a planner at Saatchi & London. So when we start on a new client or a new brand, we really like to dive in and learn everything we can about them, what they've tried in the past and what's worked and what hasn't. Usually, this is a super messy process that never happens as fast as it should. So being able to talk to some other people who have been there could make that happen a lot faster.
So the global clients within our organization are a difficult thing to get your hands around because they go beyond brands and beyond geographies, and it's sometimes difficult to get a complete bird's eye view up to date on everything that's going on. And this is especially true when you're starting on a global client and you need very quickly to acquire all the data, everything you should know as you're starting, as Anna just expressed it. So let's see how Marcel again can help Anna deal with this.
All right. Let's go ahead and...
Hey, what can I help you with?
Now, what does your morning routine look like? The way that I start my morning routine is by looking at my calendar, and I'm sure Anna also does that too. That's the way we orient ourselves to having a more productive day. So let's see what Marcel in your morning routine would look like. What does my day look like?
You have 6 meetings today. How about taking a break at 12 p.m. for lunch?
So it's...
No.
So what you're seeing is Marcel's ability to understand the context of your calendar, recognize that Anna has a packed day and Anna has a bunch of conflicts, and recommending to Anna that she makes time for lunch. We're also seeing Anna has a bunch of meetings. She's got a discussion, she's got a stand-up, she's got a design review. She also has a Pampers briefing meeting at 1 p.m. So at this point in time, if Anna is like, yes, I have a packed day, let's make time for lunch, and let's take Marcel's recommendation, all she has to do is tap on Marcel again and say, yes, please.
Great. I've blocked your time for lunch today. I've noticed you have a P&G Pampers briefing at 1 p.m. today. Would you like me to bring you up to speed?
Now, what Marcel is doing right now is it's reading through Anna's calendar and picking up on those keywords of Pampers briefing, and it's almost predicting if Anna might need some information or help in getting up to speed with the Pampers P&G account. Now, in this case, it's actually true because Anna's working on Pampers for the very first time. So let's see what the experience of being onboarded onto this account may look like. Let's go ahead and hit Shore.
PG1 is how we service our strategic global client P&G. The PG1 team is led by Michael Wood, who is based in New York.
Now, this one just seems to be the highest level overview of what the PG1 team does for Pampers and P&G. We're also seeing Michael's profile and a little bit about his role. Let's go ahead and say, tell me more.
Here's an overview on our relationship with P&G.
So we're seeing all the divisions at Pampers and P&G at which Publicis is actually engaging on. Let's do one more.
Here are the agencies involved in the Pampers account.
Now, Anna is seeing all the divisions and all the crafts across Publicis Group, along with all the agencies that are participating actively onto the P&G account. Let's go tell me more again.
Take a look at some of their most recent work.
Now, Anna can simply see all the most recent work and get herself familiar with what's happening on the account and what pieces are active right now. Let's do one more.
The planner, you'll be working with Lex Robinson, who leads the global planning on Pampers. The global Pampers planning team is comprised of around 10 planners across creative, media, and PR.
Now, what you've seen is the first couple of responses that Marcel had for Anna were pretty generic, were broad level, high level overview of the account in itself. And now Marcel is able to recognize that Anna, who's also a planner, and try to contextualize the onboarding of the account for her. So again, Marcel's using the information on the profiles of people and the account to come back with recommendations like these. So we can see Lex Robinson, who actually leads the global planning for Pampers. We're seeing some of the team members on the Pampers account, and she can continue exploring through that. Let's see what else Marcel has in store for Anna.
I found a few documents that will walk you through the Pampers engagement. Your next meeting starts in 5 minutes, so I can save these for you to read later.
So again, Marcel's picking in on some of the most common documents that get shared between the planning group and saving a list right for her. And because Anna has a meeting starting in 5 minutes, let's make sure we go ahead and save this for Anna.
Saved. I'll remind you to read this before your meeting.
So what you saw is a simple, quick, and an elegant way for anybody to get smart on what's happening on an account. This is something Anna or anybody across the group can explicitly trigger, or when Marcel automatically recognizes this, it can proactively come in and give you the relevant information so you can go smarter into the next meeting you have.
So we saw there where Marcel's job was to remove complexity for us so we get the information that we need when we need it. And this is very much aligned with the ambition that Artur mentioned at the beginning, to make it as easy to work as it is to live today. So that's what we wanted to share with you today. 5 simple stories that start to express how Marcel will and can make a difference in the way we work. It's just the beginning of the journey. I know that we all have a lot to learn, but we are designing Marcel to do very useful things that are based on real problems that we are facing every day. You don't have to use Marcel, but we believe you will want to, because it'll make your job easier to do, so that we can really meet that ambition of having the freedom to work the way we live.
So let's take this opportunity to thank Souf, who's been the head of product. Take it easy. Take it easy. Souf's got new sneakers. I don't know if you noticed, but they're brand new out of the box, as new as Marcel. Thank you, Souf.
I know the team's watching on the live stream, so that's all for you guys.
All right. Oh, I think we skipped a slide. Well, actually, it doesn't really matter. So these were the demos, or the stories we wanted to tell you today, but we'd like to take you in a few minutes back in the kitchen to tell you how we thought about this product. What is the design intent behind it? At the very start of everything we do, the start of our thinking is this. It's empowered employees. It's only about providing more power to each and every one of our employees. So, of course, the next question is how? How can Marcel create a difference and empower each one of our employees? We've represented, because it's 80,000 creative minds connected, we've represented this notion of empowerment by me to the power of 80,000, which is really how we see the mission and the role of Marcel. Now, you saw that in the case of Suwan, the real need expressed by Suwan is the need for connectivity. And it's the first power of Marcel, the power of connectivity. There's 80,000 people in this network in 130 countries. We speak every language. We experience every culture. We have meaningful experiences in just about any industry. We have all the skills that we can find. It's almost bottomless. Together, there's nothing we can do, but again, managing to curate this connection, make those right connections happen, is something where technology can help us, and it's the first power we're giving Marcel. In the case of Flavia and the case of Anna, actually, the subject is not so much connectivity as it is knowledge. What we need to do is connect to knowledge. Now, some of you, Lou Platt, the former Hewlett-Packard CEO, famously said if HP knew what HP knows, HP would be 3 times more profitable. I think everybody will agree that this is in complex and fast-moving organizations, it's something that we can improve on. And again, something where technology can help us. How do we organize what we do, what we produce, and what we know, and make it accessible where relevant? That's the second power of Marcel, connectivity and knowledge. The third power is probably the most important one. It's the case of Monica, and it's really what Arthur was setting up at the very beginning, which is Marcel is here to break the barrier between talent and opportunity. There's a Bill Clinton quote, and I'm sorry I'm hanging on to quotes so much. There's a Bill Clinton quote that says, talent is evenly distributed around the world, but opportunity is not. And actually, it would be absurd to think that share of market is absolutely evenly mirrored by opportunity. This is where Marcel comes into play, because in the case of Walmart that we talked about, which is something, in the case of Walmart, we connected somebody with the right talent and obviously the right ideas with a brand that actually didn't exist, isn't active in our market. It doesn't matter. Through Marcel, we were able to make that connection happen for the better results. If you think about this in an expanded way and see Marcel as a space where everything can be shared and where ideas can come together and find a stage for themselves, then you're actually opening up for your company something wider that you could call the culture of feedback. This is where it becomes an open exchange zone for everybody to express themselves and to find the right destinations for your thoughts and ideas. So this is the blueprint. If I take you one step back in the kitchen. Marcel, in its role to empower employees, will provide the power of knowledge, the power of connectivity, the power of opportunity, and there's a fourth one, which is the power of productivity. You've probably noticed, but during these demos, the stories we told, you don't have to leave Marcel to send an email. You don't have to leave Marcel to check on your calendar. You don't have to leave Marcel to book an appointment. You don't have to, and you shouldn't have to. This is about employee experience getting better. And this is what we call the power of productivity. So this is it. This is the way we're starting to think about the product, and it's probably the blueprint on which we're going to build much more ideas and possibilities as we learn and as we co-create Marcel.
Great. So we have 2 quick stops left in the kitchen. The one is specifically about AI. So you've heard us announce this as an AI-powered platform, and we want to talk about why we put it at the center of what we're doing and why we think that's an important thing to do. And I'm going to root it in some of what I would call a historical view on what our business is. So this is a famous Jay Chiat quote, "How big can you get before you get bad?" And this was based in sort of the classic days of marketing and advertising, where an art and copy duo was the heart of the idea-making machine, called machine. And there wasn't any brief that they could solve for a client. But we live in a very different world today. We have a vast diversity of talents. We have a vast diversity of channels. We have data, we have technology, and we have incredible diversity of briefs that we get from our clients and challenges that they face every day. So we need to change the way we work. And we were inspired to flip that quote and to think instead, how can big make us great? How can we take 80,000 people and all the wealth of knowledge and capability that we have, connect it, and use it to power us into a new way of working? We believe this is what a new economy business actually does today. It creates platforms that are powered by data, but that deliver those experiences still on a very human scale, because this is about employees, again, empowering them and about having them achieve the most they can. So when we thought about this, we said, well, we've got actually a really big data problem in front of us. We've got a lot of people, thousands of agencies, thousands of clients, and we tried to figure out how many files we had in all our shoe boxes. And the best number we could come up with was 5 billion, and I think that's probably shy of what it actually is. So if you just think of that, there's no one person who can sit on top of all those mountains of data and understand it, and aggregate it, and point you to the right data. And you know you only know this little slice of what that all is, because you can't see it all. And this is what AI is going to do for us. AI is going to help us understand all of that data, understand the connectivity between those nodes, understand from our behavior and the way we use it, what is useful, what is important, what is actually relevant to the task we're at that day. And in that way, AI is our connection engine. If Marcel is all about connections, it's AI that's actually going to allow us to do that. So my last stop in the kitchen, you've seen today we're building Marcel. Marcel is going to be ready for a beta pretty soon. But the question I think we need to start asking ourselves is, if Marcel's ready for us, are we ready for Marcel? So we are certainly going to build a department that will continue to develop the product, improve the product, take feedback from everybody. We're going to continue to do experiments in terms of new betas and things like that. But what's most important is we think about how we're going to build a network for Marcel. How Marcel will become attached and integrated with all the entities of our organization, our capabilities, our agencies, our people. Because that's truly where the power of Marcel will come in. And I'm hoping that all of you will embrace Marcel as a driving force for all 80,000 of us.
The creative's back on stage in his jammies. So 4 months ago, I made the decision to join Publicis after a long stint at another agency. And there were 2 reasons that I decided. The people that I met in the interviewing process, I was really impressed with. And the promise of this. I saw enough when I was interviewing to know that this was going to be amazing. And of course, as you've found out now, they're the same thing. The people in this is the same thing. This is making more of the people. One of the challenges as a creative right now is getting mastery over the crafts of invented mediums, because mediums are getting invented so quickly now that the space between them doesn't give you a lot of time to master the craft. So one way of looking at this platform is thinking about it as giving network effects to creativity. You know, all those great Silicon Valley companies that we admire have created this exponential growth through network effects, and we're going to create exponential creativity through this because we're going to connect and do awesome work, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Done.
Bravo!
But, no, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Almost. Yeah. I'd like to leave you with one last thought. We only rehearsed this 25 times, so I understand. One very last thought, which is actually the first thought when we got into this subject, is why? You know, why are we doing this? Now we found out a lot of reasons, but the very first reason we thought about when we started this is this one. People don't work for companies anymore. Companies, the good ones, work for people. That's the thought behind Marcel. Thank you.
Voila! Here we are! Here we are! I mean, I hope you will agree that Marcel is and will be a revolution. It's something that we have been living with during this year, and if I had to resume after all this work and all this team and hundreds of people working on it, the way I see it at least is that Marcel is a connector. Marcel is here to make sure that every of our operation and every of our talent is doing better, is learning more, sharing more, and create more. And the beauty of it is the strongest our agency and people, the strongest the diversity of our people our agency is, the stronger Marcel will be. Because, as Emmanuel said, Marcel is at the service of our agencies and at the service of our people, not the opposite. And it's extremely important because 100% of our value lies on our people, and I hope you have seen that. It's gonna be incredibly difficult. And we have to say it as it is. I almost died at the beginning when Souf was not able to put the screens. I almost died. By the way, I actually killed 2 people over there. So Souf, I don't know how you did with that. You have missed a big part, by the way, but it doesn't matter. Souf, you have been incredible.
Thank you.
And it has been a very tough journey already. A year ago, we had to take this very tough decision, mainly for people that come from the creative world, to say, okay, we're going to take a year, we're going to pause, it's time to reinvent our industry, we're going to ask our people to make an effort, we're going to pause from any promotional event for a year, and we're going to focus in building this. Let's be clear, if we didn't have done that, we would never be in this room today. It has been so complicated, so difficult, so painful, it has asked for so many people to focus, that the fact that we decided to draw a line in the sand and decided that there were no way back has made the difference. But that was the last 11 months. What matters is what is coming. And as I said, it's going to be challenging, but now it's all about execution. Everything is about execution. It's going to evolve, by the way. We were having this discussion yesterday with Nick, and he was saying something very true, Uber has changed his app every 6 months. Facebook is reinventing his platform all the time. We will have to do the same with Marcel. It's going to be an evolving thing. But now we need to execute. We need to make sure that what we have built, and by the way, what we have built in 11 months is actually accessible to everyone and is learning every day about behavior. Because it's only technology at the service of our people. So what matters is how people react to this technology. We have started the alpha test. We have 100% within the group that are already playing with it. In a couple of weeks, in June, actually it's coming fast, we're going to move to the beta test. We'll have 1,000 people working on the project and testing the project and giving us feedback and making sure that we can find more Monica. I love the Monica story. First, I want to, again, say thanks to Tony to have played the game there. I think there is nothing more brilliant than giving opportunity to the youth. I think that most of us, our role, as we have been through our career already for a big part, our role is to bring the youth to grow and to do great work in an industry that we love. And I think that thanks to Walmart and thanks to our work, we have done it. And that is something that, one of the things I'm the proudest of what we have done this year, by the way. So we're going to start to roll out in Jan. And as I said in the Investor Day, the question is having 80% of our people connected in 2020. It's going to come very fast. It's not going to be easy, but from the feedback we're having, we're feeling pretty confident. It's about execution, but it's actually mainly about you. And when I say you, is every one of you, everyone that is looking there, our clients. If we believe that Marcel can bring better work, make great ideas emerge, bring our talent to another level, we will need, every one of us to make it work. And we will need to make sure that together we're reinventing this industry for our people, for our clients, and for the sake of the idea we have about what we bring, which is great idea that transform the future of our client and make us, every day a bit better. Merci beaucoup. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So now thank you very much. Now we're going to move to the Q&A. We have a good half an hour for it. Any question from the press and our clients and obviously our people in a second. I will be the first to ask the first question, actually. And the first question is going to come to Duncan Painter, that is here with us, which is the CEO of Essential that owns the Cannes Festival. Bonjour, Duncan. Can we have a mic for Duncan? This will be great. So, Duncan, you have to know that I met Duncan the day that we decided to take this decision, by the way, not for Cannes, for the entire year, but it happens to be in Cannes. And Duncan called me the same day and said, we need to see each other. And we met at night, and we had a great discussion. And since that day, we knew that we will do something together with Marcel, and we waited today to announce it. So, Duncan, you have seen the birth of Marcel in Cannes. You have been following the project. You are here today, part of the family. What would you say about Marcel?
Well, firstly, Arthur, it's a great pleasure to be here, and I'm pretty sure most of the press that were here would not have anticipated on that Tuesday afternoon that the Cannes Lions parent company and owner and runner of the festival would be here on the day that Marcel launched. But we are delighted to be here because we saw the vision, that conversation that we had on the Tuesday evening in Cannes. Fortunately, I didn't have to worry about Air France. Set a very clear tone. It was a very obvious vision, something that you perhaps know less about us, and I'll come back to the fundamental in a second, but Essential is actually a much bigger digital business than we are a business that runs Cannes Lions. In fact, Cannes Lions, our digital business is 3 times the size of our events business. And we are absolutely at the forefront of digital information. So we are the biggest #1 monitoring platform of Amazon sales and share in the world. So we see everything that happens on those platforms every day. So the inspiration that you've set, the vision that you set, we saw it that night. The potential of taking 200,000 pieces of award-winning work across an industry over 18 years and fundamentally shifting the way that we put that together and how you can then interface Marcel into that, we saw as a great vision and something we very much wanted to be part of. Hence, we got to work on the Friday.
I think we should say the truth, by the way. So Duncan came yesterday to see the rehearsal. He said, okay, I'll be fine on stage. Everything is going to work. You have launched the work yesterday, I guess. Would you tell us a word about this?
Yeah, so the work is, the world needs creativity at the core of what it does. And particularly if you think about the one thing that every major organization has in the world that they are not restricted in any way is how they pull the lever of creativity. It's the one tool left for every CEO in a digital economy, in a digital world, really, that the lever they can pull to make the differentiation. And so for us, the work is to collect the way we've taken all of that world-winning work, 18 years of history, 200,000 pieces, 20,000 award-winning publicist pieces of work, and consolidated that into a platform that we've launched that's been configured and specifically configured to be Marcel ready, so the AI platform can learn for it, to ensure that at the core of what you say, creativity absolutely matters. That's what Cannes Lions stands for. That's what it's there to reinforce every year and to set the great standards to which publicists, of course, have been major winners many years at Cannes. And what we're now seeing, and I see, is the ability for 80,000 people to row in one direction with a capability, with instant access to the world's best work available into Marcel, real time, where we will constantly keep enhancing that. And we launched that yesterday in readiness for today.
Thank you very much, Duncan. Thank you for coming. Thanks a lot, mate. It was something, I mean, it's an initiative that I love because, you know, we are in a creative industry. By the way, it's the entire Publicis that is a creative group. It's not a few people doing a few ads. If you look at everything we do, it be in media, in technology, and a few with our brand agencies, it's about making sure that everyone has this creative culture. And there is nothing better to great work that are well focused on your need. And this is the example you have seen. Our ability to select around the 200,000 pieces, the one that will fit with your need, which is the brilliance of Marcel. It's just understanding you better, will make a huge difference. Imagine the young account executive that arrives that can see the kind of 20 or 30 pieces of work that really, you know, is important for him to get better and start to have a creative judgment. It makes a huge difference. I guess we're going to go to Q&A now. So I would propose, in order to get organized, to see if there is any question from the press or client, of course, first, before we move to the Publicis people, because we still have a day of seminar tomorrow, so I guess it will come back. Is there any? The press is gone already? Yeah. Clients are here, which matter.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
So I saw that you have information about winning work from Cannes. My question is if you have info about other awards other than Cannes.
No, we're going to work with Cannes because, as Duncan said, first of all, we believe that if you take the Cannes archive, you have the best of the best anyway. But more importantly, the point that Duncan made and that we discussed together, our AI system is very compatible with what they are doing. Don't get me wrong, it's not giving access to work to our people. You can do that on the net. The question is, taking the example again, we want to make sure that someone that arrives at Publicis or is at Publicis get to see the work that will make him progress. And so to do that, we need to make sure that we connect our AI with Essential AI, take those archives, and define the program. It is the same thing on what you have seen on the cases when they were looking for an expert match. I love this thing. We are already doing it. I mean, for 20 years, I've been trying to connect with, you know, we are in France, you want to connect with somebody in China, and before you get to the right expert, bon courage. You will have someone, not sure he will understand what you do, and your ability to connect with the time zone is extremely complicated. We want to make sure that we match with your profile, and this is why when you have 100 experts, you get to the 5 that are the ones that can be useful for you. This is the same thing with the work. We want to make sure that you see the work that will make you progress, and this is exactly what we'll do with this partnership. Thank you for the question. Very nice. Thank you. Yes? One? No? Three? Three first? Let's go. Tony. Oh, you deserve a round of applause. Tony, can you stand up, please? Please. Thank you, Tony.
That was Artur. I didn't actually have a question. I just wanted to get some applause. Thank you.
They are very good at Walmart. Huh?
My question is just, obviously Walmart's been interested in this from the beginning. What advice do you have now that you're going to launch this? What advice do you have for clients to take full advantage of the platform?
I think that what is extremely, what I love about the difficulties, we are all in, because as I was saying, you know, it's not only our industry that is being challenged, we are all seeing challenge. But I think it has changed the relationship between client and agencies. And so when we are truly working as partners, making things evolve, we win. And when we don't, we lose. And by the way, normally we lose the client. And so the advice I would have for Marcel is exactly what we try to do together. We need to reinvent this industry together. There is no other way. Because if you want to be stronger, if you want to continue to grow, you need strong partners. And this is not the purpose of this meeting, but this is something I'm obsessed about, is that how can we make sure that our clients are fewer and stronger partners and take risk, which is what you have done. It's about taking risk, calculated risk, because we know how to manage it. But I would say let's find the right balance between doing our fundamental right, because things are not going to change overnight, but make sure that we see that the future deserves breakthrough innovation that we can build together. Thank you. One.
Hello, Mike Butcher, editor-at-large for TechCrunch. The logical conclusion of introducing AI into an organization has implications for headcount. You can optimize your network, you can work out where you're lacking and where perhaps you might be bloated in some areas. Will this have implications for headcount? And secondly, will you be using Marcel to build out creative campaigns? Is there a way of using Marcel to actually replace creatives?
Guess what is the answer in number 2? Just guess the answer. I'm going to start by number 2, actually. Our only value, true value, lies on our ability to bring emotion to justify a price, to make it simple. This lies in big ideas. Technology make it possible, data make it right, but at the end of the day, whatever we do, the creativity we have in us is the only thing that will protect us from what is happening today and will make us succeed in the future. So of course, AI won't replace creative. But I do feel, and maybe Nick can tell you a word about that, is that I think that AI and technology can make our creative better. Way better. And by the way, you will have seen, we had a day yesterday about that, all day. It was amazing to see the reaction of the room. It was fun, by the way, because if I'm telling you that AI and technology is going to make creativity better, nobody will believe me. But if Nick Lowe says it, people start to believe. And it's a reality. So it's a very important point. I come back on head count. I think we have a responsibility. I believe we have a huge responsibility as CEOs of agency today. We have 80,000 people. Some of our competitors have the double. We need to make sure that we bring a future to our people. And this is exactly what Marcel is doing. Of course, it's going to optimize the way we work. This is the idea. But we want to take the best out of our people, and we want to make sure that, even if talent is equally distributed, we know that opportunities are not, and we believe that if we do that well, we'll actually enable our people to grow. So no, it's not to optimize that count. It's to make sure that we bring a future to our people, and as importantly, we bring to our client what they need, because they need diversity, by the way. I'm not going to get into the product, but if you believe that an American client will only survive by having American people taking care of that and doesn't use, the diversity of what we can bring as a group, it is a mistake. You won't find, and this is true, but it's true for any of our competitors, what kind of company have such diverse profile in so many countries, doing so many different things with so many clients? It's amazing. You have seen Dawn chart. It's amazing. If we start to leverage that, we'll be the best company in the world. 3.
Hello, Agata Małkowska from Poland, from Press Magazine. I've got 3 questions. First of all, you said that beta test will start in June. When you feel that Marcel will be accessible to everybody in public, all these 80,000 people, as you said?
Yeah. As I said, beta test 100, alpha test 100, beta test 1,000 starting in June, rollout starting in Jan, and it's going to take roughly 18 months before we hope to connect 80,000 people. It will be an opt-in system, by the way. So who wants to connect can, who doesn't want, doesn't need. And we want to make sure that people do it in the right way, knowing that this is what Emmanuel was saying. You will have all Publicis in the palm of your hands. You will be able to work from wherever we are. So we are expecting people to actually embrace it quite fast. Maybe we'll be wrong, and if we're wrong, we'll say it. But I don't think so.
The other question I have about, how much it cost?
Ask Jean-Michel Etienne. I had an investor day 6 weeks ago. I'm not going to start today again. No, of course, we're not disclosing that. So what I can tell you is that this first phase of development has been mostly paid by the pause we have done.
Well, I didn't expect you to tell me the exact money, but
I guess you didn't.
It was good to ask anyway.
Yeah, no, it was good. It's like, will AI replace creativity?
But does it mean that since the Marcel is already built, that the Publishers Group will already start going back to all the creative contests, creative...
Well, we build Marcel. It's built. It's real. It's there. We made the demonstration. Now we're going to optimize and rolling out. So, and there is a team that has had meeting twice a day, 7 days a week for the last 6 months, I would say. I mean, we'll come back to that later. We have built a product in 11 months. I mean, even people that come from the tech company were impressed, but not mentioning the one coming from our industry. It's important to give this point because when we launched Marcel, we knew that we were the only one that could do it for 2 reasons. The first is the power of one, because you need to have broken the silos to do that. You can't ask somebody at Burnett to work for Saatchi if you haven't broke the silo. So the power of one enables to do that, and we are the only one who can do that today. And maybe more importantly, we have Sapient. We have within our group technology at scale, and those guys have been working like crazy to make that work. Now that we have built the product, it's about delivering to most of our people. Third question, no, it's good. Yeah, I need to, no, just here, yes, please, next.
Thank you, Arthur. Stephen Leptak from The Drum. It's a process question. If Marcel advises and you or someone else in the company disagree with Marcel, who has the authority to overrule Marcel? Is Marcel in charge?
No. It's not Marcel that is in charge of Publicis, it's Maurice. Let's put things in the right order. No, but more seriously, to come back to your question. Marcel is a platform that will connect people. Marcel is at the service of our people, not the opposite. And it will never happen. Yes, it will break the barrier between one and another. Yes, it will break hierarchy in a way. But this is a platform. This is what we want. We want people that, you missed a great presentation by the Spanish team yesterday that was presenting the case of Walmart. And they say, we are not a CEO, which is mainly the case of the people here. We are not MD. We are not even ECD. Nobody knew us 4 months ago. And they were the one doing the work and being celebrating yesterday. So this is what we want. I mean, we want to make sure that we attract the young talent. I strongly believe that if you are 25 today, working at Publicis is an outstanding opportunity. Why? We don't have the scale, we don't have the mean, we don't have the technology of the other platform. And by the way, we don't have the money, but we have ideas. Wherever you are, whenever you start, you can come with an idea, you can grow, you can get recognized, and you can do more things. And this is what we want to develop with Marcel. Yes. Thank you, Tim. Next, 3. Here. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
I have a question. You pulled out culture is very important.
Yeah.
And I 100% agree. I come from Mercedes-Benz, so we have 280,000 people to connect silos, loads of silos. And first of all, I love the idea. It's really good. So you push it out. It's what I understand, just like a wiki. I can pull in everything I have to every Friday, my hours and all that. How the AI works in terms of culture. So often what I see when you have a group of people that will have to solve a problem, it's 50% skills, 50% culture. How the AI match the culture of the people, that I don't go to loads of people and then I say, okay, this team doesn't fit. Is it in the future one part of it or not?
It's a great question. First of all, I think that when it comes to culture, Marcel is perfectly in line with what is the culture of Publicis. 15 years ago, we were a tiny little French group doing advertising in Europe. 15 years later, we are global, we are more digital than others, and we are transforming to take the head of the game. This is thanks to the vision of Maurice, which was really about, innovation, daring, putting our people first, and take risks to make things happen. And this is a vision we're having with Marcel. So when it comes to culture, I think that we are in the perfect fit. What is the big challenge, the biggest challenge actually, is not technology, it's behavior, how people will behave. And this is why we have launched, we took 2 initiatives when we started. So we came back from Cannes, it took a week just to, and we said, okay, we're going to do 2 things. First, we're going to launch the technology part of the platform, which is what you have seen, how do we build the product. But we can't wait to start to understand what will be the behavior around that. Because what we are changing is behavior. And this is a big difference between the way we have been organized, as I said, for the last 20 years. I mean, I didn't have time in introduction, but it's outstanding to see how everything has changed around us, starting with our personal life. We don't get informed in the same way. We don't share in the same way. We don't shop in the same way. We don't travel in the same way. Soon we won't be driving in the same way. And most of our competitors are still doing advertising in the same way. Something should happen. Having said that, it takes time because you need to change behavior, and changing behavior is something difficult. And so we did the M Lab. We are doing some use cases. And by the way, we're going to use the beta test to continue seeing how people behave and see how they can react. And this is why I love the cases that you have seen there, is we wanted to take people with different behavior. The guys that you have seen from Burnett, for those who know a bit about what has happened in June, are the ones that put the Marcel sign on the Leo Burnett building. They are the one. And actually, when they did that, it was a year ago, I came to Chicago just after. I said, I want to see those guys. They don't want to see you, they don't want to get fired. It was huge. On social network, it was huge. I was looking ridiculous. All the creative was saying, look. And I said, I want to see them. I said, no, I don't want to see you. So we were in a meeting like this with our people. And I said, but you know why I want to see them? Because they have dared. And this is what we like. And those guys today, they don't want to go on Marcel? No worries. We will come. I mean, I love what Emmanuel said. You know, if they don't like Marcel, Marcel will like them. And I love those 6 features. I love those 6 features. Because my job is to make sure that people progress. And if we can give them every day 6 reasons to do more and be better, we'll win. But it's going to be about behavior. 3. And then we move to 4. And then we come back to 1.
Arthur.
Yes.
Even if you did involve Deutsche Telekom within this project, which is a real pity, I need to say I'm quite convinced of what you presented today.
Thank you very much.
Really great.
Don't worry, we will put you in tonight. It's going to be fast. You know me.
No, I won't repeat that. I think it really helps you to break up these one-dimensional, networking silos, these filter bubbles existing in such a big company. So when it comes to spreading knowledge and diversity, it's really great. I have a question about how this one is being curated. So how does all the data get into the system? If somebody's leaving the company, for example, or there are new skills coming up, you work on new clients and it needs to be embedded into the system, what is it based on? Is it, for example, based on the LinkedIn profiles then being put together? And what exactly do you expect from all those employees you are primarily talking to today, what they need to do in future times? And I don't mean using Marcel, but I really talk about what's the kind of input that you would expect them to contribute.
That's a great question. I'm obviously incapable of answering in detail, so I'm going to go to the real people that have done the work.
Okay, I have 2 mics now. Am I in stereo?
That's fine.
I'm going to give you a today answer and a tomorrow answer. So today, we absolutely have a lot of distributed systems that have all of our client data, our people data, our work, and things like that. And we are furiously on the back end connecting those as much as possible. And what we've shown you today is actually representative of the type of data that exists within Marcel, even in the alpha format today. But tomorrow, I think it's a combination of 2 things. We are doing a lot of work on the back end to bring all that data together, to have all that power so the AI can kind of grasp it and use it. But also, I think more importantly, and most importantly, we'll have a lot of behavior on the app itself or on the platform itself, and that's going to tell us far more, I think, than what we can guess when we're trying to integrate the data, right? We're going to see naturally what do people want to share, what's really interesting, what's interesting to what type of people, what geographies, what's trending. You know, what are people really, really interested in today that they weren't yesterday? So that's what I'm excited about, is just being able to have, and I think we've done some modeling. We've got 80,000 people. Even if we have half of those people on the platform, we're going to have enough data to power all of these things in a really interesting way.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Great. We said 3 and 4, or we said 4 first. 4.
Arthur, I want to congratulate you and the team.
Thank you very much. No, and thank you for your support.
I guess the next question is probably the easiest to answer. How do you sign up for the beta version?
There is a fee. For the moment, the beta version is maybe you should give a detail about the beta version, because it's very interesting to understand how we did it.
Yeah, so what we wanted to do is, we talked a little bit today about bias, right? And one of our concerns about having AI is having implicit bias, even from the beginning. So what we did is, instead of choosing all of the CEOs or all of the people of one flavor of capability or one location, is that we actually replicated the entirety of the group down in 1,000 people. It represents front office and back office. It represents everybody at every level, every type of discipline, every type of agency that we have. So our belief is that from the get-go, from the data that we're capturing from behavior, we want it to be truly representative of the group. So that's the idea behind the 1,000, and that's how we designed it. That was actually Emmanuel's idea. I'll give him all the credit. Yes.
Emmanuel, a word? No? You want to add something? Okay, so it was better done. 3. Yes. Everyone is looking at each other. Yes.
Okay. Well, this is a question not for myself. It's on behalf of a Mexican team, which is on live streaming at 3:30 in the morning.
Gracias a todos.
So I think half of the question was first answered, but the second is, how will Marcel verify the level of expertise of each individual?
All of this comes to profiling, and here, Suf, you want to take the question, or Dawn, or whoever wants to take it? It's good to see the team. Dawn, it's you again. Come on. Yesterday it was Nigel. We're changing.
Suf wanted me to do it, so I'm sure I'll botch it. This is actually, I can't tell you how many hours we spent on this, and I don't think we're actually done. We've built an algorithm kind of similar to how you might in any business that has data at the center of it. We've built our best guess algorithm, and it's a combination of LinkedIn data, people's own reported data, and we also got some guidance from our HR professionals. But our real belief is, and this is related to the conversation we just had, that when we see people using the platform, I kind of think that everybody on the platform is actually they're an authority. Every time they look at something or share something, it's a vote in the positive. And every time they ignore it, it's a vote in the negative. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to take a guess at what expertise means, but we're going to learn a lot from our people about who actually is experts and who's actually also a useful expert.
Thank you. Number 1, because time is running.
Yes, thank you. Christian Auger from Trade Press Norway. 2 short questions. One, could you give us a broad figure on how much money did you save from not participating in the creative competitions last year?
Of course not.
Why not? We are only friends here.
Of course not. I'm going to tell you what we gain. I mean, first of all, we have clients in the room, so I guess we should go to prospect, but we actually build the brand with 0 investment. Marcel is a brand already, 0 investment because of the initiative. That was one thing. The second is, it was not that much for the money. And as I said, the money that we haven't spent there, we spent it in Marcel. We spent it in the big seminar we are doing for 3 days, because 1 year after changing the management of this group, we thought it was important to put our 450 top managers in the room to show them the way, which we are doing at the moment, and I guess we're having a good time. So it was about our commitment, and I'm not trying to avoid your question. I really mean that. I mean, it was incredible to see, because everything that we have been living in the last 12 months, everyone was see it coming. There is nothing new, but nobody was doing anything. And we thought that if we just go and say, okay, we're going to build a platform and see you next year, we won't put the necessary energy, the necessary dynamic, and we won't put ourselves at risk enough to do what is needed. It's coming back to Tony's question. They are the fundamentals that you need to do extremely well. And this is what I said in introduction. We are the only company in the world that can connect data, creativity, and technology at scale to accelerate the growth of our clients. This is what we have been doing since ever. This comes from the vision of Maurice, and this is the fundamental of our business. But we have another role to play, is to take care of our people, and with our client to see what will be the future of this industry. And the problem is that if you don't burn the boat, as we say in French, if you don't decide that there is no way back, there is always something more important to do. Always. And this is why this day is so important for us. Because you will have most of the people that, when I say most of the people that doesn't want to be nice with us, that are, it was a com issue, they will never build it. We did it. It's built, it's working, it's on test. But believe me something, if we haven't done what we have done in June, we won't be here today. And believe me on another, it has been extremely difficult. Because the decision we took as a team, 100 people in a room on a Saturday morning, that decided that we will take this decision on the Tuesday that is coming, because it was the only way to force us to change, has been a tough one.
Last one.
Okay.
Thank you. Will Marcel have a further impact?
Sorry, I didn't understand the beginning.
Will Marcel have a further impact on how you think about the different brands in the Publicis group? Is it tempting to go all in with one brand?
I mean, I'm a brand builder. I've been spending the last 20 years building brands for my clients. So if you think I'm going to kill my own brand, I mean, this is a very precious asset. And more importantly, and this is what I love about Marcel, is that we want to have extremely strong culture for each of our brands. You would have seen yesterday, we looked at 20 pieces of work from every of our brands, every of our solution, and you could see the diversity of talent, of idea, of culture. This is actually something that we want to accelerate. And the beauty of Marcel is this. The beauty of Marcel is that Marcel will work if our brand is strong, because Marcel will work if we can connect this diversity. 2, please. We're going to take 2 more and we're going to close.
Hi, so my question is around reselling this, because the impact is not just on us employees, but also for our clients. So will we be able to take Marcel and sell it to our clients as well?
No, we want Marcel to benefit to our clients. And as I was saying before, I think that the good agencies are the ones that are making no more difference between the client and their own interest. And I think that we have a common interest there, or at least this is what we have demonstrated in the case. So we won't sell it to our client, and by the way, we won't sell it to anyone. We're first going to make it work for our employees. But that's because there is a question behind the question that I like, is that we are not building Marcel to make money. We need to make money, by the way. Don't get me wrong. But we're going to make money because we are selling big ideas. And Marcel is here to help to leverage our creativity. Michael, you're going to do the close? Yeah? Can we have a mic there? And then there is a last question over there. Oh, yeah. We don't hear you. If you can say congratulations in front of everybody, it would be great.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Michael. Michael Cassan.
Artur, it's clear that Marcel is geared towards the creative side of the business. And as Lisa and I were just chatting, creativity lives at the center of everything we do in this industry, media and that which is pure creative. The applicability is clear after this truly amazing presentation across the creative side of our business. On the media side of the business, do you see the same applicability, to the pure media side of it, again, with creativity at the core?
That's a great question. First of all, I believe that we don't have a creative side of the business and the rest. And you are very well placed to see that. I don't think you win a media pitch if you don't come with a creative approach that will deliver growth. I don't think that you build a digital experience if you don't bring the creativity that will justify the premium. So whatever we took it, we need to foster creativity in every dimension. And there is a good news there, by the way. We just spent 10 years with clients that were reducing their costs because it was about finding new church structure and investing massively in IT to make sure that works. I think that now we are living to a shift around CMOs that are the ones that can deliver the growth. And the growth will come from our ability to deliver creative added value into everything we do, from our creative agency or brand agency to our media to our tech. Last. Who's going to do the last? One? Then we're done. By the way, the team will be there. Any question you still have, we're there, we can take it.
Bonjour Arthur.
Bonjour. En français, on va la faire celle-là. Hein? Ça suffit maintenant.
Très bien.
Allez.
Yeah, I had a question actually on the creativity part because I think it's an amazing tool to drive, crowdsourcing of creativity within the group, and that's really the piece I loved here. I was wondering, you mentioned a lot about, having access to, for example, previous Cannes Award and, all this kind of best-in-class work that you guys have developed over time. But, in a creative process, there are lots of great ideas that sometimes get just rejected by a team like, I'm Ziad Husseini from P&G, so I can tell you we have a lot of those creative ideas coming our way. And I was wondering, are you going to also give access to any, account team in the world to all these creative ideas that were rejected, and it actually could be a much better fit for other brands?
It's a great question because it's true that there is a lot of ideas that get lost into the process. That's for sure. No, we will give them access to talent. This is what matters. And we will give them access to a diversity of talent. And by the way, if a talent had an idea that he could have done with another client that makes sense, I see Kate that would agree with that, maybe he will. But I don't think, here again, I don't think we are missing people with ideas. And maybe I'll close with that. It's not by coincidence that we put 80,000 creative minds. We believe that we have 80,000 creative minds. And the question is, how can we reveal the creative part in you? And this is what Marcel will do. Look, I'm gonna just do one last thing. And I'm gonna ask you to applaud extremely strongly and maybe to stand up. The people that have worked on that during this period have been doing an amazing job. So please, a great round of applause for everyone. Come here. Whoever. Come there. Carla, Nick. Well done. Thanks to everyone. Thank on the film. Thank you for all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Thank you.